G'day guys, we've all seen the new GW reveals for the exciting new epic crazy 8-bound models that are going to be released alongside the World Eaters Codex coming up this January, maybe February. And what I wanted to do today is just highlight how absolutely monstrously massive these models are. It's sort of hard to see from context in the pictures that we've seen so far just about how big they are. So I've gone to some length to determine what scale these models are going to be and show you just how fucking huge they actually are going to be when you see them on the tabletop. So with that being said, let's just get straight into the video.
Look for the blood god.
Alrighty guys, let's take a look at the fucking 8-bound and let's have a look at just how massive and monstrous these beasts of war are going to be on the tabletop. So what I've done here is I've taken a screenshot of the Warhammer community post that had the 8-bound in it and another screenshot from the one with the Khorne Berserkers in it. And then what I've done is I've scaled those two screenshots to make sure that the bases are the same height, because we all know that it doesn't matter what size your base is in width and length, they're all the same height. So I've made sure that they're the same height here, even though, as you can see, that one's on a slightly different angle than the other, but it's pretty much bang on. Then what I've done is, assuming we know that the Khorne Berserkers are going to be on a 32mm base, I made a little square there with the word 32 in it, and that was like 600 pixels or something wide. And then what I've done is I have scaled that up by times 0.14, I think it was, which was the difference between 32 and 40mm, so the ratio between 32 and 40, and then drag that new cell across that would have been 40mm and placed it underneath the 8-bounds base. And as you can see, that more or less confirms these guys will definitely be on a 40mm base, because that square is 40mm and it fits right under their base. And then I've essentially used the same mathematical logic to go, okay, well, if the bottom of the base there is 32mm, how tall is he? And from the bottom of his base to the tallest part of the model, the new Khorne Berserkers will be 47mm tall, which I believe is slightly taller than your standard Marines. I think they're, because they've got the big spikes on them and that sort of stuff, as well as being sort of built up to that Primaris scale, these Berserkers are going to be quite chunky. But speaking of chunk, if we have a look at this lad, like, he is absolutely massive. So that same logic, I've then gone, okay, well, if his base is 40mm wide and we can measure that in pixels, then how tall is he? And then I essentially just created a new rectangle, put 70mm on it, scaled it up, and used the calculations to find that he's actually 70mm tall, which is very tall. That's taller than a rhino. That's taller than, a lot of stuff. It's almost dreadnought height. He's a huge beast, this guy. And then I did a little bit more digging and I found that the Berserker, if you call the Berserker 100%, this guy's 148%. So he's nearly a full 50% extra in height. And again, this is measuring to the tallest point on the model from the bottom of the base. So to the tallest part of the Berserker's backpack and to the spikes on the top of the 8-bounds backpack. So they're big boys, these guys. I think they're going to be quite an intimidating force across the tabletop. I can imagine a couple of units of 6 of these guys running at people is going to absolutely cause them to shit their pants. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not their stats come in line with what we're seeing here on the model, like if they're as intimidating on the tabletop with rules as they are visually intimidating. Will be interesting to see. We've seen some leaks and some sort of teasers and stuff like that, but we haven't really seen anything that can be confirmed in regards to their rules, so it's still sort of out in the air at the moment. My thoughts are that given the fact that they've got chain blades, they're not going to be particularly high damage. I'm expecting high strength and lots of attacks is what I suspect we're going to be getting, but not necessarily high damage or high AP. Which means they're going to function very similar to your CSM regular possessed, right? They've got, high strength, lots of attacks, 2 damage. I imagine we'll have a similar profile. We'll probably just have a few more attacks and maybe slightly higher AP, maybe. And then in terms of durability, these guys are way bigger than your standard possessed. So I would be surprised if they had 3 wounds. I would expect 4 wounds on these guys because of just the sheer bulk of them. And I'd also be surprised if they were strength and toughness 5. Maybe strength 6, toughness 5, or maybe strength and toughness 6. But I'm predicting that they'll be significantly tougher than your standard possessed model. And then they'll probably have your 3-up save, 5-up invuln, as per, normal demonkin. But who knows? There's rumors about things like giving them pre-game moves, which is pretty spicy. There's all kinds of rumors floating around about these guys, so I'm not going to make any real predictions at this stage. We'll just have to wait and see till we get the codex in hand. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.
Look for the Blood God.
Alrighty guys, thanks for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, all that good shit. And you can also pick up merchandise like this t-shirt, like the dice that we've got coming out, like the objective markers that we have. All really great ways to show your support for the channel. Or if you would like more one-on-one coaching and list advice with myself, you can join our Patreon. You get exclusive access to a Discord server where we work together as a community to make sure that we're all achieving our personal best results at every event. So with that being said, I'll leave it there. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.